in the dying embers of human existence, as the asteroid, a behemoth the size of Texas, hurtles relentlessly toward Earth. The world braces for an apocalyptic end. Deep beneath the bunker, a refuge plunges into the bowels of the earth. Here the chosen gather, their purpose clear, to preserve the very soul of our civilization. The 35 and 70 millimeter prints that encapsulate the magic, the emotion, and the dreams of generations past. These masterpieces, each frame a testament to the human spirit, are carefully cataloged and cradled in the cavernous confines of the bunker. Perhaps there was room for more, for friends and family yearning for salvation, but sacrifices must be made. The movie nerds stand united, the keepers of a flame, promising a future where the art of storytelling endures, transcending the boundaries of time and space. God help us all.
Welcome to Back to the Frame Rate, part of the Weston Media Podcast Network. Join us as we watch and discuss films on VOD and streaming platforms, deliberating on whether each one is worthy of salvation or destined for destruction in the face of the impending asteroid apocalypse. You can find more episodes of this podcast on backtotheframerate.com, where you can subscribe and share our show, and find us on our socials at Back to the Frame Rate. I am Nathan Shore, and accompanying me are the extraordinary movie mavens Brianna Butterworth and Sam Cole. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing pretty well. How are you doing?
Excellent. As you know,
I think B is muted, it appears, sadly.
Unmute.
What's up? I'm here.
Yo.
4 years later, you'd think I figured it out.
I could have let that slide in the name of comedy, but I have too much empathy as a human being,
Yeah, thanks.
Well, glad you're all here, and welcome everybody listening and tuning in for our June wrap-up episode. We do this every month where we just get together for a week and catch up on what we've been watching. And especially this month, we are going to hand out our June award, our June awards. What is June awards? Our June Pride awards. We watched some great movies this past month for June Pride. We did, and just kind of catch up our final thoughts on that before we move on to our next theme and share about what we've been watching the past couple of weeks. Should be a fun little episode.
It's summer, guys. It's officially summer.
Summer's here.
Summer blockbusters. Yes.
Summertime.
And the box office is back.
It is. Yes.
With Inside Out 2.
I know.
I loved your Facebook, Nathan, when you posted about going to see Inside Out 2, and you're like, I had to do my part and contribute to Bob Iger's retirement fund. I thought that was brilliant.
He needed it. He's having a good week.
Got to help him out.
Yeah. Help him out a bit, Yeah, I've been having some fun with my socials this week. I also posted, because, yesterday I live in Massachusetts, and we had a tornado warning, and I sent it to you guys. We've been having a lot of fun on the show teasing our anticipation for Twisters. So I shared it with you guys, and I posted it on my socials, the picture, the meme of Glenn Powell looking out the window from the trailer where he's like, woo, I don't know what you call it.
You got the framing right and the facial expression perfect. It was instantly recognizable. Like I got it like immediately. I was like, yeah, spectacular.
Well, and of course I took a picture of the tornado warning that came up on my dashboard as well. So
we are really excited for Twisters.
Yeah, we are.
More than we should be. Probably.
More than we should be, but it could be awesome. You never know.
Fine. Might be
There's
great.
always hope.
Yeah, you don't know.
Hey, we all just
hope, or it will be
made
bad.
plans to go out and see it together in a couple of weeks. So yeah, why not?
Hell yeah.
That's true. That is true.
So yeah, let's get into it. So this past couple of weeks we watched some great movies. Sam, I know you've been busy. You were off in San Diego the past week doing some business, some work. So you weren't with us last week, and I don't know if you had a chance to watch. I didn't even ask you off when we were off the air. But.
Like a complete idiot, and I'm going to apologize to the whole world on this podcast because the world is listening. That's how good our numbers are. So you should join it too, listener out there. But I did not see it. and I completely forgot to see it. And then not only that, but today I had free time to watch it, and I was just like sitting around like a jet lagged idiot. So
you know what
my
you could have done?
apologies.
And you could have just listened to our episode on it and learned everything you needed to know.
That's true. Yeah, the episode is out, and I saw that, but it was like half an hour before the podcast, so I was like, too late.
One that was kind of funny. Well, the episode only dropped, at midnight earlier today. I was teasing that it was going to be the most obscure. It is the most obscure movie that we've reviewed on this show. Mm-hmm. I'm referring to the 1996 film Lilies from John Grayson, a movie that none of us have even heard of until a couple of weeks ago, when now friend of the show Duncan Flaster recommended it. And
great episode.
We had a great time talking about it, but none of us had even heard about it. I would guess that very few people listening to the show prior to that episode had even heard of it either. But what's really funny is that episode has already been downloaded more than our Flash episode from a year ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You never know.
All right. Well, tune in, folks, and listen to Lilies. It's a good movie.
Yeah. So
I learned something.
we will. You can refrain from any of the discussion around Lilies, but you know what, Sam? If you ever get a chance to check it out, I'd love to know what you think of it. So
I definitely will watch it, because I was planning on watching it and then schedule change. But I'm fascinated because I have no pulse on whether you liked or disliked it, and so I got to listen and watch.
And we won't tell you either.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, so me and B will probably partake in some of these awards, and Sam, if you do not wish to do all these, that's perfectly okay. But
I will do my best.
You'll do your best.
I will wish.
And you can make up some things if you want, as we want to.
I will be brave, just like Disney's Brave, unlike its sequel, Coward, which is not as good a film.
That would have been great if it actually was a sequel called Coward, yeah.
Awesome.
It doesn't, but wouldn't that be like insane if it did? It'd be amazing.
Oh my God.
And like the hero failed, like he was a coward. He never overcame it. There was
It's
no
not
arc,
a Disney movie.
I know.
You're
That's
not describing a Disney movie at all.
That's why it would be great. The audience would be so shocked. It'd be a hit out of like, they'd shock watch it. They'd shock watch it a couple times. Be like, is this
Can we
real?
enter our new Disney era? Oh God.
All right, let's save this episode from the gutter already. Let's rank these movies. We watched 3 movies for our June Pride. The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Then we watched
Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire. It's been a long day. And of course, Lilies from 1996. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to give out some awards here. But I think the first thing we want to do is, should we do this at the end, rank these? This was at the top of our agenda, but maybe we should do this at the end.
Sure.
We'll do this at the end. Let's start with our first award. And this is something it's been a little bit tradition here, is our Wingman, Wingwoman award. What character would you want to be your wingman, wingwoman on a date?
I can definitely answer that. It would have to be Terrence Stamp. Be very supportive. I would have to say so. It was either that or one of the people from the like drunken the brawl, like the miners in the town getting drunk just because they'd be so like drunk that you could like manipulate them and like tell them what to do as your like wingman.
That's great, Sam. I'll jump ahead. I also have Terrence Stamp as Bernadette as my
what a great character.
Wingwoman award, just because I think that Bernadette would take no shit from nobody.
They proved themselves to be a great wing person. I'm going for Sophie from Portrait of a Lady on Fire. She was the housekeeper.
Okay.
Yeah. I think she can keep a secret, which I like. And I think she really like sticks with that trio, you know.
I like that.
Like it.
Okay. Our next award is our Scene Stealer Award.
Dun dun dun.
Sam, since you just volunteered to go first.
Yeah. So
you have to go first all the time.
For the Scene Stealer Award, I don't know if, I mean, it's not like it certainly steals the scene, but it's not like a positive upbeat scene. I think it is a scene that just stands out like intensely in my mind is in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, when Guy Pearce shows up at the miners' town, like all by himself, and you're like, oh my God, he's in serious trouble, and he gets chased. Like, I find that scene
that's the scary part.
Extraordinarily intense, and like that scene is a standout in a different, terrifying kind of a way. But like, that's a huge standout for me.
Oh, I went so much sexier than you did. I went to
the darkness.
Yeah, I went with Portrait of a Lady on Fire, with the "You Dreamt of Me." No, I thought of you. What? Not a dry seat in the house, folks. What a great line.
It's an amazing line.
Their chemistry just off the charts. I mean, I know we've used like scene stealing kind of loosely. I would totally say their chemistry.
Their chemistry was like incredible.
I went with another movie for Scene Steal Award, and I went with Brent Carver's role as the Countess in Lilies.
Oh yeah.
And I literally went with this because every moment that Brent Carver is in this movie, he literally stole the scene. This is the reason why this movie is as good as it is for me, Sam, and I think it's worth seeing because of Brent Carver in this movie. So he's incredible in this, and the reason why this movie is, I actually bumped it up from a 3 to a 3.5 last week because I just could not get over how great he is in this film. And it made me sad.
Check it out.
A couple of years ago, and he didn't do a lot of films. He was mostly a theater actor as well. I came to find out, and that's wonderful. But I was kind of sad to realize this because I want to seek out more things that he did. But yeah. So yeah, there is an award that I overlooked that we have done the last couple months that I totally forgot about, and I hope I don't mean to spring this on you, but we've done this before, so I'm going to kind of do it again. We have in the past done an award called Best Sidekick, which would be an award for if you were going to go into battle, who you want to be your partner in crime, your master to your blaster.
Oh man,
your master,
Bernadette, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna go with the low hanging fruit. The phrase.
Just want to keep the theme from every month going. That's why.
And also Bernadette, like literally, like kicks that, like she knees that guy. Like I mean, she shows her skill set on screen. Yeah. So yeah, it would have to be that.
You're right. That is kind of low hanging fruit, but I realized I forgot to include it. Yeah, I think I'd have to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a movie about sidekicks, right? That's a movie about
exactly.
Friends that are like sort of forced into being sidekicks together. It's two who are already sidekicks.
Exactly. It's like it's thematically perfect, you know?
Yeah.
All right. So our fourth award, and this is one that you suggested, which I think is great. Best costumes.
So relevant for this series.
So, Sam, do you have one you'd like to submit for this category?
It would probably be Guy Pearce and Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, because he has like 6 of them. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my God.
And they're all very like loud. So there's lots of,
I could watch Guy Pearce on top of that bus, just playing music. That was great. I went with Portrait for this one. It's just so rich and textured. No, I mean, I love the green dress. I also just love that color green.
Yeah.
It's its own character.
Totally, yeah. For me, this is a no-brainer. It's the costumes in Priscilla. If I had to choose my favorite, because I wanted to be specific. I forget which one that is, but if I think I go with the costumes that the trio are wearing when they are performing the song finally, and they go through several wardrobe changes during this performance. First, there's those yellowish red flowers, then the black and blue peacocks, then the yellow desert lizards, I'll call it, and then they have these French like 17th century like King Louis VIII style outfits.
Regency.
So the whole performance and like the 4 or 5 wardrobe changes they go for that entire song. It's only about 3 minutes or so long, but it's a feast for the eyes, and it's completely unforgettable, that scene. So I'm going with all the costume wardrobe changes for that song, which is the highlight, one of the highlights of the movie for me.
I love it.
Yeah. All right. So, B, you still insist we need to skip this next award? It's just too creepy?
I think we just rephrase it.
How do you want to rephrase this?
I would just say, like,
who would you get to rebuild the air conditioning system in the apocalypse shelters to breathe better?
Wow.
Technical nerd. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Just forget I said that. Go back to where your mind was right before that, and then start over. Yeah.
Just gonna say you could save one character in the fallout shelter.
Save one character. Isn't that the same thing? Save one character. All right. Sure.
I don't think about the fallout shelter like you do. I don't think. I think we're thinking about it different. Just save one character.
Save one character.
Yeah. Who would you guys save?
Oh man. Oh God. The definitely and I'm my mind is completely blanking, but the main character from Portrait of a Lady on Fire, the lady on fire.
The lady?
Yeah.
Adele and Elle's character?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
She would have to, definitely her. Everybody else, sorry.
Suck it, everybody else.
Interesting. This is difficult because I don't know how much time I want to spend with many of the characters from these three movies.
Or if we didn't spend it to the characters, you could just save the bus from Priscilla, Queen of the Desert,
and like useful.
We could weld it into our shelter and have more space. Like build onto our house.
It's tough because we really don't ever get to know anybody's true identity in the movie Lilies, except for the bishop in the older version of Simone. And I'm not spoiling much, Sam. And neither of them seem like a good time. The entire cast of Portrait of a Lady on Fire, I think, is loaded with trauma or some sort or another. And that leaves the cast to Priscilla. And I suppose if I look at the entire cast, Hugo Weaving's character seems like the type of person whose personality won't grate on me after a couple years trapped in a bunker.
That's a good point. I see that.
He provide live entertainment. But he's going to have to work on his lip syncing.
That is also my choice, is Tick from Priscilla.
Yeah.
He just seems the most, I don't know.
He's most on the level of everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
I just think I'd get on with him.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. We got to rank them?
Was that our last award? Let me look here.
Okay, one to buy on Blu-ray if you had to pick a movie.
Oh, that was yours. One to buy on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the same as like our number one movie, maybe.
Well, here's my counterpoint. I was just going to say, sometimes you just want the quality of the movie. You're like, you know what? This is a movie that's just really pretty to look at. And I kind of want it on 4K and I can throw it on in the background, but I don't necessarily need it. That can be one of my motivators. I don't know.
Right.
I hear that. Yeah.
So a Blu-ray or 4K. What movie am I going to drop $30 on?
Wow.
Or 30 on.
I don't know. Pick one to buy. Physical.
All right. Pick one to buy. I'm going to jump in here. All right. Because I actually do it. Like, there actually is a movie that I kind of like do have like saved in my to buy bin at some point, and I've been eyeballing it. And it is Portrait of a Lady on Fire, the Criterion. I am looking at that, waiting for the Barnes and Noble sale to come through because I really do want to pick that up.
Yeah, same.
That's
one of those. It's just beautiful to look at.
I would definitely. That's what I would buy as well. Whether the Criterion or just the film, like if it's available, like I would definitely purchase that.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. So those are our awards. Any other superlatives we can think of? We kind of like did this very quickly and haphazardly, I feel like. We had no production meeting between last week's episode and tonight. But this is fun. All right. Ranking. Let's rank these pretty quickly. Sam, you got 2 to rank.
Yeah. So
It'd be funny if you rank Lily's number 1.
Definitely number 1, Lily's. I'm going to take a gamble on it, like chips in Vegas. No, just kidding. Yep. 1 would absolutely, by significant distance, not significant, but by distance, Top of the Mountain, Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Number 2 would be Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. And alas, I mean, that would make Lily's automatically 3, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know, and I apologize.
It's okay.
What you don't know is that I've been fired and that I won't be able. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
I'll go. I mean, same order. Portrait was the crown jewel of this series for me. I love that movie.
You guys liked it.
Portrait is on a cinematic level of like, that's, for me, it's more cinematic than Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, even though I like Priscilla, Queen of the Desert a lot.
And followed by Priscilla and Lily's. Lily's, I was down. Sam, I know you weren't here last week, but I did not like it the first time I watched it. I watched it a second time and I got a lot more out of it. So it definitely requires your full attention. Was our assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I had seen that like there was had a vague comment that's like sounded like the first viewing didn't like it, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to listen to this because I enjoy it when you like trash a film.
Yeah.
But that's not the case this time.
No, I have the same order. I mean, I don't really think it's a surprise or a secret that Portrait's up there for my number 1. But I will say, I think Lily's and Priscilla kind of like on par with each other. They're just 2 very different movies for me.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not that big. There's a big distance for me from Portrait and the other 2 films, but it's a much smaller distance between Priscilla and Lily's.
Portrait is on like Everest, and the other 2 films sound like they're on like Kilimanjaro or something like that, which is still impressive, but it's not Everest.
Garbage mountain, you know.
Yeah.
I picked that randomly, by the way. Yeah.
Hemingway.
All right. So that's kind of, I think, wraps up our June Pride Awards. Let's transition to our 2025 mid-year top 5, which is something I've been looking forward to for the last 6 months. We did this a year ago where we did our 2024 mid-year top 5, and I think only 2 of my...
Do you know what year it is?
It is 2024.
2024?
Yeah.
I wrote down 2025 in my thing.
Like, man, you leaped into the future. Like Avatar 3 is only 6 months away.
I know.
Tell us how Twisters was.
Yeah, I will. 2024.
We'll have seen Jurassic World 4 by then. Like,
wow. What I was trying to get to the point is that I remember last year we did this. B, you weren't with us, but only 2 of my films in my top 5 still made it onto my end of year list. So
Q1 is tough, right? And we've finally moved on from Q1 and now we're leading into summer. So I think there's a lot to look forward to. There's been some gems this year, but I would say that the best is yet to come.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
All right. So
let's
do this in, why don't we just continue the same order we started in? We're going to go from 5 to 1. And Sam, why don't you lead us off with your number 5?
So my number 5 would be Bad Boys Ride or Die, which I just saw when it came out 2 weeks ago. And I enjoyed it, and I thought it was decent, and it was not perfect, definitely some criticisms, but it had that old school 90s action vibe. So I thought it handled nostalgia in a pretty good way. So I enjoyed it.
Yes.
Number 5.
That's great. So my dirty little secret is I've only seen the first Bad Boys.
If you only see one other Bad Boys film, see Bad Boys 2 for like the most over the top excessive action sequences it's like 2.5 hours of mayhem, and I love it.
It's really the Fast Five of Bad Boys.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
I know. So I probably won't see this before it leaves the theaters, but I will marathon all these one day. is my plan. My number 5 is Dune Part 2. And I'm surprised this, when I first saw this wasn't higher on my list. It's been slowly falling. And I think it's because I'm finding, as I find myself distanced from it, I'm seeing a lot of the flaws in this movie. The more I think about it, it has some pacing issues. I now think that Dune Part 1 is a better movie in a lot of ways. And I don't know if that's something
it's
that
contentious, man.
I don't know, but
I'm the polar opposite. But yeah,
I don't like how they and again, I'm not a huge fan of the David Lynch version. I have not read the books, but this is a really good movie. But as I distance myself from it, I find myself just kind of souring a little bit on it. The memory of it is not as strong as I recall being. Whereas the opposite with like Furiosa, which I was kind of like middling on it, and it's stronger as I think about it more. I find myself recalling things more and more I like about it. I look forward to seeing this again. I'll probably watch both Dunes again back to back someday, and I will find it watching it as a whole. I think it will work better. But yeah, it is my number 5 right now. Mm-hmm. I think they do mom dirty in this movie. I don't like what they do with, I forget her character's name, but I don't really. What? I feel like she's sidelined in it in a weird way.
What?
Oh my God, she's like front and center. Like
we gotta do an episode on Dune Part 2.
Do a Dune Part 2 contentious episode. That'd be incredible. Yeah.
I need to understand what you're talking about with Rebecca Ferguson.
I don't dislike this. It is my number 5, but I might not be surprised if this falls out of my top 10 altogether by the end of the year. The way it's going. Interesting. Yes, I know.
Interesting. Well, I'm in no place to talk because, as the both of you know, I've had like a top 7 and the bottom 3 have all kind of like shifted and been vying for this 5th place. Just sort of like the best of the middle and have sort of all come together. So I've changed my mind a few times on this list now, and I probably will again, but I'm going to go. Its wide release was 2024. I'm ignoring festival releases because I'm not a critic. I'm going to say when I was able to see the movie, which was this year, Perfect Days, Wim Wenders, number 5 for me. Mm-hmm. Perfect Days, more like perfect movie.
And we were talking before we started recording. I squeezed us in at the last minute last night. And I was saying that this movie is tailor-made for me. And I just had just a little bit of a hard time. Finding it wasn't pulling at my heartstrings the way I wanted it to, and it should have.
I totally get that.
Yeah. Oh. Sam, what is your number 4?
So hold on one moment. My number 4 is Jim Henson Idea Man, and I know that's a documentary, not a film, but like
that counts.
Those are films.
Yeah. Yeah, sorta. No, just of course it is. Yeah, but I'm a big like Ron Howard fan, and I just was like happy to see him sort of focusing on this. And I like Jim Henson so much that like whether this documentary was like stylistically perfect or had like some flaws, just the subject matter. I learned things about Jim Henson that I didn't know. There was so much archival footage. I mean, It's easy for me to please, like if you just strung the archival footage of Jim Henson without a narrative, I still would have liked it. So I am incredibly biased, huge Jim Henson fan, a huge Muppets fan, but that definitely made the list of like, I will watch that again over the years. That's why
it made me watch The Dark Crystal again. I watched it and then I was like, I just want to watch The Dark Crystal now.
I do want to see this. What platform is this streaming on? I forget.
Disney
Apple?
Plus.
It is Disney Plus. All right. Yeah. This has been something I wanted to check out for a while.
Yeah.
Great. My number 4. Wow.
You are in the future, man.
I am in the future.
What's it like?
My number 4 is Inside Out 2.
Wow.
Yes, I really did like this movie a lot. I think I did not like it as much as the first one, and it did not. The first one, I will all out weep over. I think it's a near perfect movie. And this one, though, here's the other thing. I have a daughter who is turning 13. And this nails so many aspects of what I see her going through right now. I also see a lot of the flaws in this. It's a small movie. And I think that the first movie does a much better job. I don't know if I articulate this the best way. It opens up the world of what the inner psyche, the emotions can be. And this movie really niches down in a way that I wish it didn't. I wish it expanded the world more. And I don't think this movie expands the world of the inner emotions as much. And this it's a very small story in a way, but that's what I kind of like about it also. It's dealing with, in some ways, a very mundane topic about a girl that's just turned 13 that's going off to this hockey camp, and it's just dealing with a very tiny, small story of this girl's life over the course of like 2 or 3 days. And it's introducing obviously the characters of anxiety. And I don't want to give too much away in my personal life, but it resonated so much about what's been going on in my life and her life over the past year. So I sat next to her during this movie and we kept looking at each other this whole time. And it's like, yeah, like so much of it they nailed about what it means to be 13 and dealing with anxiety and some depression sometimes and all these sorts of emotions that young teenagers are going through. So they nailed so much right, and it was a very emotional watch for both of us and what we've gone through. So yeah, it is not a perfect movie. It's not as good as the first one, but it definitely hit us very close to home. So that's why I did love it a lot. Yeah. So that's my
I look forward to seeing it. I haven't seen it. I got to play catch up. There's a few movies out now that I really want to see.
It's the year of the sequels, man.
Yeah.
Sequels.
B, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is a movie that I saw earlier this year, and it has stuck in my craw ever since. It's Arkasha Stevenson's The First Omen. What year of the sequels, prequels? This was incredible. I love horror movies, and Nathan, we were talking about earlier, this has been a prolific year for the genre. Robust. I wouldn't say it's all worth paying to go see it in the theater, and it never is. But The First Omen is the rare prequel, and I'm sure there's another one in here that we'll talk about that could stand on its own legs and be its own thing. And not only that, it's a movie with a message. I think it says a lot about women's rights, about reproductive rights. It's a damn good horror on its own, but it also makes the other Omen movies great. And it's shot so beautifully. It's really just beautiful to look at.
Excellent. I want to see this. About 2 years ago, I watched all the Omen movies over one weekend. So I need to watch this soon while they're all fresh in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Sam, we are on to your number 3.
So my number 3 at present would be a movie called Land of Bad, starring Russell Crowe, Liam Hemsworth. Came out in February. And I wanted to mention it because, like, in the the first 6 months of like 2024, I'm sure it's already forgotten, but I liked it. I thought it reminded me of like a 90s action movie. I thought there was some decent moments in the script. I like Liam Hemsworth. Some parts of the climax I had issue with, but I thought Russell Crowe was excellent. I was a pleasant surprise. I was not expecting it to be good, and I went to the movie theater like out of total boredom that evening, and I genuinely enjoyed the movie. I'll absolutely watch it again when it comes out on streaming, if it not already is.
Nice.
Excellent. All right. My number 3 is Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, that's been on my list.
Yes. I mentioned this maybe a month ago on the pod, or 3 or 4 weeks ago. This movie still stuck with me. It's such a throwback movie. It's about a late night talk show host, and it's all shot like found footage, but it's like the lost episode of the show. It's such a unique film. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. It's stuck with me ever. I really think this will probably still stay in my top 10 of the year what's his name? Dasmalchian. What's his first name? He is so good. He needs to get more roles. Love this film. Yeah. Both you guys
So
really need to
good.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't
Late
wait.
Night with the Devil. I think it's on Shudder.
Yeah, I almost watched it this weekend, but my partner decided that it would be too spooky.
It's
So
not. It's really not that scary at all.
Okay.
It's not that kind of movie. No.
All right.
But yeah. All right. B, what is your number 3?
My number 3, Luca Guadagnino, Challengers. I was shocked by how much I love this movie. I've been a little on the fence with Zendaya, but I love Mike Feist, so I was excited to see this. It blew me away. I thought the performances were all great. The soundtrack, this is some of the best Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross work I've heard in a film in a long time. Might be their top ever. It is thumping. Wow. It was great to hear in a theater. Some of the camera work felt so fresh and exciting and new. I loved Guadagnino's take on Suspiria, and this is up there with that for me. I thought it was great, and an evangelist for anyone who hasn't seen it yet.
I've really got to see it. I mean, it got really good reviews too.
Awesome.
So, I mean, I was definitely interested.
It's a great movie about competition.
Nice.
Yep. All right. Sam, your number 2.
So my number 2 would have to be Furiosa. Halfway through the year, definitely a fan of the Mad Max franchise. I thought it was a very worthy entry, not perfect, but for this first half of the year, it's definitely would take the second spot, no question. It's really too damn bad that it didn't perform at least decently. It's not done well at the box office, and I know that puts a halt either for a while or permanently, or I guess we'll see what happens on Mad Max The Wasteland, but I'm just always game to return to that world. Yeah. And so it's frustrating, but the movie does have some really great epic moments.
Yep.
That was a fun time at the theater.
It really was.
It was just a fun time.
All right. My number 2 is also Challengers.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, your number 3 was Challengers. For all the reasons you already mentioned, B. Yeah, I also think this might be Reznor's and Atticus Ross's crowning achievement as well.
It's incredible.
The first thing when I think of this movie, I cannot get out of my head the soundtrack to this. How I don't want to say it assaults you, but it kind of
does.
It kind of, yeah.
Didn't they do the soundtrack for The Social Network?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love the music in that movie. That's a further endorsement of why I have to see Challengers.
Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, the Fincher girl with a dragon tattoo.
Nice.
Yeah. But not in a bad way. Honestly, I'm watching this movie and I found myself, my just pulse is racing through this movie, even during times where there's not much happening.
It is tense.
It is. And amazing cinematography. I saw things in this movie, shots in this movie I've never seen before in a movie ever. The tennis scenes are shot incredibly well. That ball is coming right at you at times. And I know it's a CGI effect, but I've never seen tennis shot this way.
Yeah.
And it's really, really incredible. So, and I like the story too.
Importantly, I've never seen tennis filmed that way, and I grew up in Rhode Island. Yeah. So I'm the target audience.
And tennis was my sport in high school too. So
yeah,
it was. I had a great time with this movie.
Oh, I'm so glad. I loved that movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of fun with Challengers. Yeah, it is my number 2 so far this year.
Oh.
All right, so B, tell us what your number 2 is.
Nathan, we disagree on this movie, but my number 2 is I Saw the TV Glow. Mm-hmm. I was glued to the screen in this movie. Nothing really was happening in the movie, and I just noticed myself totally enchanted, totally on the wavelength of what was happening. We mentioned I loved We're All Going to the World's Fair. I think it was incredible. One of the most unnerving films I've ever seen. I don't know that this is that good for me, but it's definitely one of the best of the year. I think it's so important for folks around our age. This says a lot about dysphoria. It says a lot about media. It says a lot about consumption of media and how we attach ourselves to it and see ourselves through the lens of what we consume and shape ourselves by it, and how we stand by that as we shift and change. And it does it all through the lens of this super creepy story. It's a little Twin Peaks. It's a little Are You Afraid of the Dark? I was so sold. On board.
Mm-hmm. I was going to mention this in the next segment in our movie musings because I did catch up on this. This did not make my top 5. I don't know what to make of this movie. I wasn't connecting with it because it's funny. This movie is geared toward my generation. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And maybe I wasn't a usual teenager. It's firmly steeped in early 90s and this nostalgia, WB shows like Buffy, and, X-Files, all these things. Early 90s sci-fi films, Sliders, X-Files. I wasn't really always into the culture of trading tapes with friends. And maybe that's why I wasn't a big TV watcher, perhaps. I was more of a movie person. I just wasn't really finding what this movie was trying to say. Maybe is what it was. And I was just struggling with it. It's glacially paced is one thing, but the visual aesthetic and ambition of this movie is there. And there was really cool to see this movie. I just really could not figure out what I was trying to take away from this. I don't know. I'm really glad you like this movie. A lot of people are glowing over this film, and that's wonderful. I just could not figure out
that's okay
what was going on.
That's okay.
Yeah. Anyways, that's it.
All right. Our number ones.
So our number ones. Sam, what is your number one?
So for me, just far away and above for the first half of 2024 would definitely be Dune Part 2. I loved it. I thought it was an improvement on the first film. I'm like the like total antithesis. Like there's a game called, actually, never mind, that metaphor is terrible. I'm just going to keep going forward. It's going to reference a video game, but I like Dune Part 2 a lot. I thought it fleshed out a lot of action and scenes in the book. Like it brought them to visual life. I actually saw it. I saw it in IMAX, but I saw it again recently on like a regular TV screen. And I was surprised at how well the story translated and the images held up, even on a smaller screen. I even noticed more details in some moments because I wasn't so like overwhelmed by the size of the visuals. But that, I would say hands down, Dune Part 2 so far this year. I actually thought I really liked how the Rebecca Ferguson character was handled. I thought it was, I'm a big fan of the book. I thought they did that well. So yeah, that I would definitely give it that. And it's in terms of like production and visual and style, it's like epic in scale on like Lord of the Rings. It's like a Lord of the Rings level film in 2024. So that would be number one for me.
Okay, great. So is it me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, my number one film so far, Madam Web. Just kidding.
What?
Just kidding. No, my number one.
We definitely needed a Samuel L. Jackson sound effect right there. Like, what the yeah.
My number one film so far is Love Lies Bleeding.
That was a great movie.
Which I think I even mentioned 2-3 weeks ago is my favorite film of the year so far still. So if you've been listening to the show, you already know this. Yeah, I love this movie. It reminds me a lot of the Coen Brothers aesthetic, and Kristen Stewart, I think, is great in this. And I'm already blanking on the other actress's name off the top of my head because I didn't do my research this week. But their chemistry is amazing. I love the story. I don't know, but this is my favorite film of the year.
This was vying for fifth for me because it's so good and it's just so tight. Like it just feels so clean for how bold and creative some of the decisions are in this film. Yeah, Katie O'Brien is who plays Counter, Kristen Stewart, and she She crushes it.
She does. Sam, I think you would really like this movie a lot too.
Yeah.
If you get around when you get around to this.
Definitely, yeah. No, I would definitely want to see it.
Sam, you're walking away from here with a big list.
Sorry?
You're walking away from here with a big list.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Mine.
I love low rent, crime movies. That's really what it comes down to, where everyone's really incompetent,
So did you like that Steven Soderbergh film with the, oh my God, I'm brain dead. With Adam Driver, the heist movie, and Bond was in it. Daniel Craig was in it. James Bond.
Oh, Logan Lucky?
Yeah, Logan Lucky. Did you like that film? 'Cause that's
I don't
like
know.
low end heist.
I don't think I saw it actually.
Oh man, you would like
Yeah.
it. That was positively received.
Mm-hmm.
Good film. Yeah.
Fascinating.
All right. So B, we're up to your number one.
Well, it's a little anticlimactic because Sam and I have the same number one. It's Dune Part 2. Unsurprisingly, it's so good. I had been anticipating it all year. It did just get topped at the box office. It got crushed by Inside Out 2. But, we had a good run. It's
a good run.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Excellent.
Quality.
All right. So that is our 2024 mid-year top 5. It'll be really interesting to see which of these films stay in our top 10 or what drops out or how far any of these fall by the end of the year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to come in 2024. Find out by listening to Back to the Frame Rate.
Any honorable mentions you like to bring up?
Yeah, for sure. Let's see.
Vile Crocodile. Sorry, that was 2023. Whoops. Yeah, never mind.
Remember that movie? There were, like I said, there were a lot of movies that were kind of vying for the middle. I thought Monkey Man was a great debut. I know Jordan Peele had a lot to do on that movie, but I was really excited by it. The ultra violence is back in theaters in a big way, and it's just fun. And I loved seeing some fist fighting instead of some gunfighting. I thought that was great.
I also thought that Roland Emmerich really upped his game with Moonfall Part 2. I loved it. I thought it was an improvement visually, storytelling wise.
So far this movie, I'm just excited to see a lot of movies that are like pretty good. That's what we need. Just some movies in the system. Hitman.
Yeah, Hitman. I will mention a few. Hitman would if we had a top 10 list, which we don't have. Hitman might be on the very outer reaches of my top 10. Civil War might be way up there. I like Civil War, even though we kind of talked about it a little bit as being problematic. I did still like it. And Abigail was a horror movie from I think March or April. I liked it a lot as well. Considered that briefly. There was a movie that would probably be my number 6 that I really debated on, but I just couldn't knock off Dune 2. I think there would be revolt amongst both of you. It is an Adam Sandler movie, which I think would just be called Spaceman, that came out in February, which I loved. And I really thought about keeping it on my list somehow. It's a really touching, bittersweet movie about a man that is isolated in space and he befriends this giant spider, and we don't know if he's imagining it or if that spider is really there. But is he going crazy in the solitude? It did not get the greatest reviews, but I love it when Adam Sandler is working like in that register of a dramatic role. It's no Uncut Gems, but I do like it when he's kind of flexing the dramatic chops, and I think it's a solid effort from him. So that was something that I considered in my top 5. And there was one other movie that I thought about, which was pretty good, and it's called Suncoast, which was a Sundance movie that came quickly to, I think, Hulu with Woody Harrelson, which I liked a lot as well. But yeah, so those are ones that probably might round out my top 10 or 11 if we were doing that.
Yeah. For me, it was Evil Does Not Exist. That came really close. Yep. I love Drive My Car. Evil Does Not Exist didn't really touch Drive My Car for me, but it's a movie that I find myself thinking about a lot. It stayed in my memory.
Yep. All right. How about this? What is your biggest disappointment of the year so far?
Bike riders.
Yeah. You were saying before.
Yeah. I was pretty bummed by Bike Riders. I love a dudes rock movie. I am here for that. But the Bike Riders, it was so strong in the first half. It's not casting, it's not pacing, it's not any of that. I think it really comes down to the story it chose to tell. It just was a little bit messy, and it really felt like everyone knew they were in a movie, if that makes sense. It just felt like it had this self-awareness that I found deeply unattractive in the whole thing. So it just felt very run-of-the-mill. I think it could have been done a lot more interestingly. So I was bummed. I was really looking forward to that one.
I do want to see that. I got to check it out anyway.
I mean, it's not like a bad movie. It just didn't live up to the hype for me.
Yeah. All right. Sam, is there anything that you saw that you were disappointed with, or your list not big enough?
Oh God. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I was disappointed in Civil War. I thought the scene with Jesse Plemons was like incredible. And I thought if that scene in the middle of the film had been like expanded into a more like real time, like situational, like dramatic thriller with them. But I mean, that was, I didn't hate it, but I would say it would probably be that film.
No, I get it. That the trailers lied to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Wasn't bad though. Like it was still, I mean, it had some incredible scenes, like, and I liked all the actors. Like, I mean, I thought they were, like Kirsten Dunst was amazing. It was not the film I was kind of expecting.
Yeah.
Nathan, I think I know what yours is. Can I try and guess?
You can guess. I've been very vocal about it.
Is it Trevor Dolls?
Yeah.
The movie that could have been Love Lies Bleeding.
Yeah. All right. What is next on our agenda? Because I know we're already going kind of long here tonight for this episode.
Do you want to talk about some movies we're looking forward to?
Yeah, let's do that. Sure. I've got nothing prepared. But
Twisters and Quiet Place Day One. Done.
Nice. Nice. Not The Crow. I'm not looking forward to The Crow.
Oh, Alien Romulus. Sorry, Alien Romulus.
Oh, yeah.
I am looking forward to Alien Romulus as well.
I've got a big, long list. But Nosferatu is up there.
Yeah, you shared the trailer for that. And
I can't wait.
I like Robert Eggers sometimes.
I can't wait.
And like I was saying when I responded to you, I hope it's more Witch and less Lighthouse.
We'll see.
Yes, I was a huge fan of The Witch, Lighthouse. Not as much The Lighthouse, but yeah.
Oh, I loved The Lighthouse. So I'm here for whatever he wants to give me. Talk about sequels, Gladiator 2. I'm thinking about it a lot.
Definitely intrigued by that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hopeful, but like cautiously optimistic, I'll say.
Yep. Maxine. I'm excited to see this trilogy round out. I thought X and Pearl were great. So I'm excited to see where they go. And then there's more Smile 2 kinds, but really War of the Rohirrim. Come on.
Definitely looking forward to that. And there's more too for me. I just don't have my list, but I'm sure there'll be something radical.
There's the next Joker movie, Folie à Deux, is. I'm looking forward to that a little bit.
I do like the trailer.
Gaga's Chromatica Ball dropped on HBO Max.
Nice.
It's exciting.
Oh, and I mean, Rings of Power season 2. I'll definitely be watching that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I should have had up our most anticipated movies of 2024 list. I had it at one time. I'm curious
and see how we did.
How we're doing so far.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll pull that up and edit this out. I really want to see.
Might be quite a lot to edit out today.
No, I'm going to pull that up here. I posted it to our Instagram. Let's see if I can easily pull this up here. I made a whole fun graphic out of it. Nope, that's Kevin Bacon, who we follow. All right, here we go.
But does he
Back
follow
up
us?
I'm really looking forward to Argyle 2.
Here we go.
Oh,
Top
God.
2024 most anticipated films in no particular order. B, yours was Bob Marley, One Love.
Damn, it really stunk too.
Driveway Dolls, Beetlejuice
Bummer.
2.
Oh, yeah.
The Book of Clarence.
Beetlejuice 2.
I didn't see that.
Furiosa, Dune Part 2, The Bike Riders, Mickey 17, which we won't get until next year.
We won't get.
Gladiator 2, and The Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim.
You know what, too? I think I didn't know a lot of what was going to be announced. But yeah, One Love. I mean, when is a biopic ever really great?
Oh, Twisters, definitely. Yeah.
And Sam, your 10 anticipated films were Civil War, Gladiator 2, Beetlejuice 2, Alien Romulus, Twisters, Deadpool 3, A Quiet Place Day 1, Dune Part 2, Furiosa, and Inside Out 2.
That's right. I have
And
not
my-
seen it.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what this really highlights for me is how early like sequels, legacy sequels
God.
and prequels
Everything
and
here.
stuff start advertising, and then we just learn about other movies sort of.
Oh yeah,
closer
I mean,
when they come out.
Exactly.
for us to do this list
true.
in January, I mean, we don't even know half the movies that are going to come out this year.
Mufasa the Lion King could be good, honestly.
You know what? I was so pissed. I'm watching Inside Out 2, and the two trailers are the Mufasa trailer and Moana. It's like, does
They're
Disney
cashing in on us.
I know. Damn. All right. So
Corporate
my top
greed,
10,
man.
my 10 anticipated films were The Bike Riders, Alien Romulus, Civil War, Mickey 17, Drive-Away Dolls, Horizon, and American Saga 1 and 2, which I still am looking forward to because
I want to see that. Yeah.
I love a Western American epic any day of the week. Alto Nights, Deadpool 3, Furiosa, and Dune 2. And just because it's on this page as well here, we have Ellie's top 10 was The Book of Clarence, Civil War, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, The Bike Riders, Dune 2, Joker 2, Beetlejuice 2, Deadpool 3, Ballerina. Did Ballerina get pushed? Ballerina got pushed, didn't it, to next year? I think. Yeah, and Bob Marley, One Love. So
Ellie, I think, liked Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, though.
I think so.
Saying.
I feel bad.
It seems to be genuinely well liked. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually it was the movie that actually did decently in the May of like box office emptiness.
Yeah.
Something had to.
Yep. Woo! All right. Was there anything else in my list? This is just one.
We've just dropped a lot of movies at this point. We have, if you've kept up with all the movies, amazing, because we've just name dropped a lot of movies.
I'm really looking forward to Driving Miss Daisy 2, visiting the grave.
Oh God.
It's gonna be good.
All right. I think I feel like I want to acknowledge one thing. I don't really have that much to say about this or done any research on it, but I feel like we should acknowledge the passing of Donald Sutherland, which happened a couple of days ago, which is unfortunate. The only thing that is kind of unfortunate is I realized as I was very sad about this, but I realized that there are very few movies that I realized that I can think of that I kind of remember him from. He kind of became a character actor later in his life. Not really a character actor, but he was always played like the father figure or like a villain, or had only like a scene or two in big budget movies. And he was great in the movie MASH and Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which I think was 78. But he quickly kind of became not a leading man, once the 80s came around. And I was trying to think about what are the iconic movies. And I was wondering if you guys have any thoughts on, are there any films that are favorites of yours with Donald Sutherland?
I mean, iconic would definitely be MASH, but I mean, that'd be way up there, But there's a lot of films that he's in that I like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. So for me, Fellini's Casanova is a big one. He starred in that one. I love Fellini. I think Donald Sutherland is great. But, of course, Invasion of the Body Snatchers is the iconic one for me. I think that's sort of where I was introduced to him. Don't Look Now. That's a great one.
I mean, I like
There's
him
a
as
lot.
President Snow in The Hunger Games for me. That was pretty
Yeah.
epic, but
Yeah, for sure.
And honorable mention to Backdraft, not the best movie, but the Ron Howard Fire movie. I liked him as the villain in that.
But that's kind of the role that he fell into over the last 40 plus years, is small villain roles, or
like he's always a small villain. Like he was the bad general in Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman, and I liked him. I really liked him in that, like a supporting kind of a role.
Yeah, and he had a great small role in like JFK, which was like one scene.
Yes, but it was a huge scene. Yeah, so he's like, here's what's all the secrets.
Yeah. So, but man, the guy had some of the best eyebrows in Hollywood. So that's,
I just think there's not a lot of role. I think he probably aged out of a lot of interesting roles, which is too bad. But I'm glad we got to see him in some great movies for as long as we did.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the last movies he did was he had small parts in Moonfall, which you mentioned a couple moments ago, and Ad Astra, I think he had a small role in too.
Yep.
So good stuff in small roles, but always brought his A game. So he will definitely be missed. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. The last thing here is, let's see, anything else here? No, we're going to not do that. We did movies we're looking forward to. I think that's about it, right?
Sounds good.
Back to the frame rate.
We're just going to capture that. That'll be our new theme song.
Part of the Western Media Podcast.
I know. What are we doing next month? What's July? It's summer. Are you guys excited for this?
No.
This is your dream come true, Sam, right?
Seeing Twisters?
No,
what we're doing on the pod.
Our theme for the pod.
Oh God, yes. You mean like what's coming up directly next?
Yeah, gentle readers.
It's gonna be incredible.
We're doing
Nathan, your
80s summer comedies. Like, how do we get to this?
I can't wait.
I know how we got to this, Nathan. We all sat together and you had the most niche vision for what could classify as a summer movie.
That's true. You're like, it has to take place on a beach, not a cove, not an inlet. It's a beach movie. There can be no
and it
pails,
could be a camp, but it can't be a camp from the 90s. It has to be the 80s and it has to be adult, but not too raunchy. Anyway, now somehow we're doing an earnest movie and I don't feel awesome about it, but I am going to go in with an open mind. So
I can't wait for Ernest Goes to Camp. I've been watching clips from it. It's gonna be amazing.
So
this is movie, the most
this is
self-indulgent thing Nathan's done for the pod.
We're watching Ernest Goes to Camp. Is that 87? I think.
Yep.
Who
It's
cares?
summer 87.
We have the late 80s cover. Ernest Goes to Camp. The Great Outdoors, which me and Sam actually have a lot of nostalgia for. B, you've never seen.
If it's ever on TV, remote drop. That's all I'm going to say.
And we're wrapping up July with Weekend at Bernie's.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, so
I actually am very much looking forward to this summer. This is like check your mind, like at the vehicle and walk to the beach without a brain. Like I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, we've earned this. We have watched these winter survival movies. We watched Christopher Nolan movies. We watched these epic, romances, sweeping romances of that take place over decades.
These films as a reward for hard work. I disagree.
No, seriously. Do you know how much research I'm going to do for these movies?
It's great.
I'm gonna sit on my couch like Al Bundy with my hand like down my shorts and like doing like with a big gulp and like with no notebook. And
I do think of it as a vacation. Like it's a fun vacation, like reward. I may also visit the Ernest place where they shot the camp in like South Carolina for a future Walks of World episode. I think it was South Carolina, but I have watched videos on YouTube. They go back there. Like it's a classic.
I don't know.
Camp. I can't wait.
I quit. Great chat. No, I'll try. So I have not, the only one of these movies I've seen this Weekend at Bernie's, and it's been well over a decade. I'd say 15 to 20 years since I've seen it.
The good news is I can definitely say we picked the better of the Ernest films. Like Ernest Saves Christmas, even though it's a box office hit, is not as good as my opinion.
will never watch Ernest Saves Christmas on this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. You said we'd never watch an Ernest movie like 3 months ago, and here we are. So
it's good. It's Ernest Goes to Jail is good. Goes to Camp is good.
Stop.
I do not like the Halloween one. Ernest Scared Stupid. I saw that in the theater in 1991, but I have not yet seen Ernest Rides Again, which is one where he like meets up with a professor and like goes after this like Arthurian jewel, or no, it's like an something. But I have to, as a completionist, I have to finish the series. But
you're gonna need a spin-off podcast.
Ernest Goes to Camp is where it all started, because the Disney CEO, he saw Mickey Mouse at Disneyland like walking amongst kids, and then Ernest came out and he got bigger applause than Mickey Mouse. So the CEO was like, we needed an Ernest film, and that's how that happened.
I'm going to try. I'm going to genuinely go in with an open mind. I'm going to try. Historically, this is not a great decade for women or queer people. So we'll see.
That's why we're limiting it to just 3 movies, you know? So.
Right.
At least we're avoiding probably like the really offensive.
Yeah. No, they could be good. We got at Bernie's, I remember.
We're not doing like Revenge of the Nerds or, you know.
Vacation.
Ski
Revenge
School.
of the Nerds 2.
Ski School. There must be a movie called Ski School we could be watching.
This 1990s Ski Patrol.
Yeah, that.
Saw that in theater. But yeah.
Or just one of the guys. What year was just one of the guys? Have you seen that one, Sam?
I haven't seen that one. I did see Revenge of the Nerds and Revenge of the Nerds 2.
It might be one of the most offensive movies ever made. Where, anyways, we won't get into it, but we could do a whole month dedicated to losing our entire female audience.
I just we were just talking about how much testosterone was in all of the movies that we were watching.
Definitely been
we have to counterbalance every.
We have to release the burden.
Oh God, you guys are the worst. Okay.
What's really funny is people are listening. If anyone's listening to this, like tuning in for our June Pride wrap up, and they're listening at the end of this, like they're doing what after this?
Yeah,
I subscribe to this podcast,
guys. I'm trying. Okay, I mean, yeah.
At the very least, it is better than Ernest Saves Christmas. That one is fairly dull.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
but
Ernest
we'll
Goes
see.
to Jail is pretty good. He has a twin brother, and the wrong man gets convicted, but his brother that looks just like him takes over his life while he's stuck in jail, and they
whoa,
swap. Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna wrap it up here. Do I even have anything to say at the end of this year? You know, hey guys, just everyone listening, subscribe. You get more of this really awesome content of us talking about movies and shit. So.
And as Nathan would say, this is the best first half of 2025 ever.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Thank you everyone for listening to us. That is our show this week. Back to the Frame Rate is part of the Weston Media Podcast Network. We also wish to thank Brian and Ellsworth for our show opening. On behalf of all of us, we bid you farewell from our fallout shelter. Your presence in our underground sanctuary is truly appreciated. We are truly sorry you cannot join us, but we want to express our gratitude for your company. If you are finding solace in our discussions, we kindly ask that you please subscribe and leave a rating and review. You can find more episodes of this podcast on backtotheframerate.com, and our handle on our socials is Back to the Frame Rate. Or is it Back Frame Rate? I don't even know anymore. Just try one of those two. Your support is the beacon of light that brightens our confined space. Head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whichever portal connects you to our broadcasts and share your thoughts. Until we emerge from the fallout, stay with us, keep hope alive, and keep those reviews coming.
And remember, second place is terrible. There's only first.
First loser, second place.
Just kidding.
This is the end of our transmission. Back to the Frame Rate. Signing off.
I want you to know it's over.
Well.
Well.
Bye.
Bye.